I'm joined by Mike Singleton, head coach for Washington Elite Men's Soccer. They were picked number 1 in this year's ODAC preseason poll entering the 2022 campaign. Coach, how are you today?
Doing great. How are you, JJ?
Doing well. Yeah, let's go back a little bit and talk about last season for you. Absolute banner campaign for you, getting to the national semifinals of the NCAA tournament. Just talk about that experience, what it meant for the guys, what it meant for you as a coach to be in that sort of scenario as well, because I think that gets lost on this sometimes too, is it's rightly so a lot about the student athletes, but we got coaches and athletic trainers and SIDs, things like that are part of that experience as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was a great ride. I know the guys were super passionate and happy and excited the whole ride through, and it really was just a great season. And I was so proud of the guys because I think they really learned coming out of COVID, quite honestly, that it was a privilege, and they wanted to make the most of it. And we saw that right from the start of preseason, and as we moved throughout the year, that they just had a little bit different sort of focus, a little bit different sort of motivation to them that really allowed us to get more done on the field and get us tighter as a team as we went through that tournament. It was a great experience for us to be there. I think the guys, they're feeling a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, the way it all went down, and obviously wanted to play for 36 more hours.
Right.
But looking back at the year and, it being the best year in the history of our program, there's a lot to be proud of. And that's, what I've kept trying to keep the guys focused on is, we had a lot of firsts, 3 All-Americans in the same team for the first time ever in this program, and scoring 70 goals for the first time ever in this program, and other things that I think they needed to really take account for and appreciate, because although the season ended with a loss, which it does for, 99.9% of the teams,
Right.
I wanted them to really appreciate and understand what they had done for the program and for themselves and representing themselves. So we had a great event when we were in the Final Four. It was great to see alums from 6 different decades were in the stands. So that made it even better. We had guys carrying around their 1954 yearbook and asking the guys to sign it, which just added just a really sort of unique feel where the guys saw the love and the support they had from the greater community as well.
Well, I'm glad they had that experience. I'm glad you have the alumni support and following that you did for that tournament. I would imagine that's going to continue going into this year. Something a little bit different about, these interviews that we're doing this year. It's not going to release with your preseason poll. Want to talk a little bit later into the camp than we normally do, so you have a better perspective on your team. So let's talk about that a little bit. You've got 5 of your 8 all-conference guys at least back rostered from last season. Talk a little bit about what you expect from them, but also maybe how you're going to replace some of what you're missing, which is right in the heart of your defense.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, our center midfield in particular, they're kind of the cog of the team and have such an important role on our team. So those guys returning, we're very comfortable with those guys in the middle. And then they've really proven to be great players, not just for us, but nationally as well. But missing Jack Rollins and Seth Chapman from the center back, who are 4-year starters. That appears to be sort of something that I'm sure a lot of people are wondering about.
Right.
Thankfully, we have people who have stepped right into the role during the spring season. They really stepped up their play, took leadership responsibility for the back line and for the team. One of them's a captain, Charlie Colby, who's going to be stepping right into that role. And then Evan DePaula has really sort of done great work to put himself primed in the position as well. And we have PJ Ryan, who I know a lot of people look at with a great deal of respect after his performance last year. And he's another person who's played a great deal of center back in his life. So I think we have numerous people who have the potential to step right in, and it'll be a little bit different defense. And the question will be, which one's better? I'm not sure there's a clear answer to that, but it will stylistically be a different defense because they have different abilities than what the 2 departing guys had.
Well, I think it's been consistent that, since in your tenure at Washington League, you've had quality players up and down the ranks, if you will, for class year. And that has happened in the past with you, with, incoming class members, whatnot. What do you see from your incoming class this year, whether it's transfer or true first year? You don't necessarily need to single out any guys, but maybe if you want to, feel free. But just the overall impressions you have of your new class coming in, adding to what is a national championship caliber squad that you've got.
Mhm. Well, we made a primary focus on bringing in people who had superior technical skills to really try to raise the technical proficiency of our team this year. And the guys have come in, and it's showing right away. Shoot-footed, creative, people who like to combine, some defenders who are going to be able to step in and help right away, and also get in the attack. And so it's really the group overall is really coming in at needs. We bring in a goalkeeper, and we graduated Michael Nick, who was such a stalwart for us. But I think they're really we're gonna see them, I would say, towards the last half of the year really be impactful. And I think people are going to be surprised at how successful they are as we go into conference play later.
Well, as we take a look at the league a little bit coming here, I mean, I'm a true believer in that the top can bring up the bottom, bring up the middle a little bit, so everything kind of elevates. And I think Washington Lee and Lynchburg and even Randolph and Roanoke have proven that that's the case. And you're the talisman and leading that now with, making a semifinal run as the latest team. I think the last team that we had do that was maybe 2012 with Lynchburg that made a semifinal run. But talk a little bit about what we're seeing from the league right now. When we look at the tournament from last year, that there were 5 one-goal games, 4 of them were 1-0, 2 overtime games, with Lynchburg coming away with a victory in one of those one-goal games over a Randolph team that had a really good squad there. Talk a little bit about what you see from the league at the moment and where it's kind of come in your tenure there from where it was when you started to where it is right now.
No, I think definitely right now, I would say we're in the tenure that I've had here, it's at an all-time high as far as the competitive level that goes deep. And you look at really, I tell my guys, like really there's between 8 and 10 teams in our conference that if we're not playing our top, we're going to be extremely sorry at the end of the day. Because it's you can't go into any game because the teams prepare for each other so well and they know each other so well that, every team has good competitive players and they're fighting. And particularly for us and Lynchburg and some of the other teams too, we have targets on our back and we know that. So, whether it be the second ranked team or the 4th ranked team or the 8th ranked team in the conference, we know they're going to come guns a-blazing and ready to really give it their best. And they have good, strong players on their team. So that's one of the things that we really try to preach to our team, that we can't go into any game with a different mentality and take it light, because in our conference, if you do so, you're going to give up points. And that's going to drop you 2 to 3 places in the conference tournament, because at the end, it's always separated by a point to 3 points from really 4th to 8th.
I think we've got some newness that are going to learn what it's like to play in the ODAC this year. We've got Averett coming in as a new squad, bringing their team in. Talk a little bit about what you expect out of them before I hop into our second level of new feature.
Well, I think we'll see as they come in sort of where they fall in the big picture, but they've done well in the conference they're coming from. They're a team that always has good athletes coming in, and I think they're sort of a very well organized team as well. So I think it's going to be interesting to see, just because I think our conference has, I'd say, more competitive teams that make you have to work harder every day. So we'll see how they adjust to that, because I do think that's the long haul that you have to worry about when you go through our season.
The other piece of fresh faces that we have coming in the league is we got 4 new head coaches in the conference, and that's outside of Averett coming in just as a new squad. I think we've got Eastern Mennonite's got a new coach, Randolph's got a new coach, Guilford has a new coach, Shenandoah has a new mentor as well. I mean, talk a little bit about what it is, being that you were a new coach coming into the conference several years ago, not necessarily a brand new first-time head coach, which I think some of our people are, but what's the experience of coming in as a new coach to a league that's established, that's pretty darn good, if you will?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's great because with the new coach comes new energy, new focus, and I think every new coach, when they come in, they get a nice little grace period where the players give them more the benefit of the doubt because they want things to be good. So I think when new coaches come in, you have to be particularly concerned because teams will add new wrinkles, teams will have new identities and possibly be playing different playing styles. So from what we know in the past, we can't go into those games thinking we're seeing the same thing that we've seen from those programs. And it'll be interesting to see early in the season how their games go so we can try to understand their style and the new challenges that they're going to offer. But typically when new coaches are coming in, you know they're going to be pressing every button and keeping long hours and sort of working really hard and they're really trying to make their stamp in the program and in the conference.
Well, we look forward to see what that's like. We look forward to see what it's like for the holdovers in the conference, and especially for Washington Lee as you go and try to defend your status there as a national semifinal qualifier. Things start on September 1. Coach, I want to thank you for joining us today and good luck this season.
Thank you very much, JJ. I appreciate it. And we'll see you out in the fields.